Alrighty, now on to section 2 of today's lesson, which is word problems with proportions. Right, so like any other word problem that we've worked with, remember that the very first step is you want to read the question as is. So, for example, 1 is on the blueprint of a house, 35 millimeters represents 10 meters. The actual length of the living room is 9 meters. What is its length on the blueprint? Right? So now what am I going to do? I'm going to highlight all the important information that we need. So on the blueprint of a house, that's not important. But what's important is it's 35 millimeters and it represents 10 meters. And then now it says the actual length of the living room is 9 meters. What is its length on the blueprint? Right? And that's the question. So we want to find the length on the blueprint. When we do word problems for proportions, it's usually given. One proportion is always given. And in this case, it is 35 millimeters to 10 meters. Right? We know the living room is 9 meters. And we're wondering, what is it on the blueprint? Right? And so we're going to be solving for the question mark. When we solve these proportion problems, we still make it irrational. So this is going to be 35 millimeters. And this is over 10 meters. Okay? So now your question might be, how do I know where to put the question mark and where to put the 9 meters? You always want to make them correlate. So since the numerator is 35 millimeters, and that's what we're looking for, this is our question mark. Right? And so in this case, this question mark, I'm going to make X. And because I don't know what X is, we do have to define what it is. So X is equal to the length on the blueprint. So in millimeters. Right? And then we're given 9 meters. Okay. So now that we've set up the problem, all we have to do is solve for X. Now above I did mention, or on Alex, it does talk about doing the cross product, but I'm thinking why? Because our goal is to solve for X. And as you can see, X is on the top. And how do I get X by itself? To get X by itself, all we have to do is multiply this by 9, technically 9 meters. Right? And when I do that, I get 35 millimeters times 9 meters all over 10 meters. And this is equal to X. Okay, since I have meters on top and meters on the bottom, this gets canceled. Right? And then all I'm left with is 35 times 9 over 10. 35 and 10, they both have a factor of 5 in common. So what does that mean? I can divide them both by 5. When I do that, I get 7, and this is 2. Oops. Okay, and so when I do that, what am I left with? I'm left with 7 times 9, which is 63 over 2. And then we have millimeters. Okay. And this is the length of our blueprint. Now we have to answer the question more properly. So this is not done. We have to just write one more sentence, and the sentence is the length on the blueprint is 63 halves millimeters. Right? If you want to solve, I usually prefer improper fractions, but if you feel more comfortable, then you can also say this is 31.5 millimeters. Alrighty, so now I'm going to do another example in this section because I know sometimes it can be a little hard to set up problems. So starting, we're going to start with the highlighter, and we're going to read the problem. So this is the ratio of cats to dogs at an animal rescue facility is 8 to 5. How many dogs are in the facility if there are 400 cats? So let's see. So the ratio of cats to dogs, okay, is 8 to 5. And this is normally respectively. So that means for every 8 cats they have 5 dogs. Right? And so what is our question? Our question is, how many dogs are in the facility if there are 400 cats? Right? So let's set it up. So cats to dogs, you can do cats over dogs. So if we do that, that is 8 to 5. Right? So 8 to 5 is 8 over 5. And then we want to know how many dogs there are. So since dogs is in the numerator, we can put it on the bottom, the question mark on the bottom, and then we want to know 400 cats. Right? So first I'm going to establish our variable. I'm going to use x. Right? If you want, you can also use d for dogs. It is up to you. So but x is number of dogs. Right? So now let's rewrite it. So we have 8 over 5 is equal to 400 over x, right? And then we're going to solve. In this case, because x is in the denominator, I'm going to do the cross method, right? So what does that give me? This gives me ax is equal to 5 times 400, which is 2,000. Right? We're going to divide 8. We're going to divide 8 from both sides. So then I get x over is equal to 2,000 over 8. I can't, since they're both even, it can be reduced. So, but they actually have 4 in common. So I'm going to divide both the top and bottom by 4. So what does that give me? So 2,000 divided by 4, that is 500. And then 8 divided by, actually, never mind. So, my mistake. 2,000 is actually divisible by 8, because that. So 500 divided by 2, that is 250. What does that tell us? There are 250 dogs in the facility. So some of you may be wondering, does it have to be this way? Like when I say cats over dogs, you can also do dogs over cats. The only thing that's really important is you have to match them up. So if you want to decide to put cats on the top, then the number of cats has to always be in the numerator, and the number of dogs has to be in the denominator. So I can't be, because cat over dog, okay, it has to be cat over dog. It cannot be, under no circumstance, dog over cat. Okay, if you establish the very first proportion to be cat over dog. So, in case some of you don't believe me, let's try. And this time, I'm going to do dog over cat. And I will show you guys that you'll still get the correct answer. In this one, it'll be a little more, you have to be a little more careful because it says cat to dog, 8 to 5. So in this case, it's going to be 5 over 8, right? And then x I'm still going to use as the number of dogs. So because dog is on the top, now my unknown variable will be on the top as well. And then there's 400 cats. Right? 8 cats, and then 400 cats, and then 5 dogs, and then we're going to solve for that. Usually when I solve these proportion problems, I do like my variable to be on top, or do it anyway to where the unknown will be on top. Why? Because now all I have to do is multiply both sides of the equation by 400, okay, to solve for x. When I do that, I have 5 times 400 over 8, and this is equal to x, right? And then here's a little more clear. So 408, that goes in. So 400 divided by 8, that is 50. And then 8 divided by 8 is 1. So what am I left with? 5 times 50, which is 250. And then 1 is 1. So 1 is 1. So 250 divided by 1 is 250. So as you can see, you still get the same number, right? Again, I just want to emphasize when you do proportions, it has to be the same.